Hello, class. Welcome to CIT 15 here at Fresno City College. I'm going to walk through this little video on the interface for My IT Lab. When you finally get registered into My IT Lab and it's a paid account, you're going to have an interface that looks like this. On the left-hand side, it says Getting Started. There's basically this screen to double-check your student ID and making sure that your time zone is set for the Pacific Coast time. Notification areas in case there's any kind of updates. Sometimes I'll do things by email. A lot of times I'll put a video or some kind of comment in the weekly announcements. The course materials area, where you're going to spend a lot of your time, that's pretty much where the bulk of all your work and assignments and tests will all happen in the course materials area. Once you've completed the course materials area, the grades area, you'll spend probably more time in the custom view. The grades area gives you a breakdown for the whole semester, but the custom view, when we start populating it, it will be like your progress grade area as you go through the class from week to week. Okay, and then a copy of the EText here for this class. Click on here, the EText. You'll see that we're using the 14th edition of Technology in Action. Okay, and so it's a pretty simple one here to be able to take a look at. Give it a chance to kind of spin up here onto the screen. There you go. That's the book that we're actually using. If you look up here, that's a little hamburger symbol up there. If we click on that, you can go to the table of contents, and then from there, start reading the chapters. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and close that screen and come back to where we're at. Let's take a look at the course materials area again, a little more detail. At the top here, you'll find a copy of the welcome email that I sent out earlier this semester, a copy of the course outline, which I'll walk through in a few moments here, an FAQ sheet. You know, a lot of times, hey, computer people, you know, we have questions, but if there's already a quick answer someplace, go check it, because chances are there's a good answer already sitting there waiting for you without any extra effort. Okay, a direct link copy to the EText, so it's actually in two places here. And then you'll see a folder for each week of the semester for the entire semester. So everything you're going to need to do in week 1 is going to be put in week 1. Everything for week 2 is going to be self-contained in week 2, and so on. So let's take a look at week 1. So in week 1, hey, guess what? We just have weekly announcements. So if we go into the weekly announcements, what are some things that we have to do? Well, there's a read in these instructions first. It's kind of an overview of some deadlines and time frames, things like that. A short video. Again, remember I mentioned about making sure that your student ID and Pacific Standard Time's all set up. A little link to that one to make sure that one's okay. A copy of this week 1 announcement you should be watching already. A tour of the trainings. Now we have trainings and assessments which walk you through how to use Microsoft Office, and that's part of your grade in this class. The big difference between a training and assessment is that the training has a learning aid. It actually will take you through step by step on how to do something. Once you feel comfortable, then you should go ahead and try to do the assessment, and the assessment is the one that's actually going to be part of your letter grade for this class. Finally, the other part of this class is going to be 3 hands-on tests on Microsoft Office, one in Word, Excel, and Access. And so here's a tour of how the test look like. Okay, later in the semester when we get ready for that test week, I put an additional video specifically on the Word test itself that you'll be taking, kind of a quick insight into the actual test itself. This one here is teaching you about the overall process of how that test is going to work, the mechanics of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and come back out here and let's take a look at the course outline now. Okay, so if I launch the course outline, okay, let it kind of spin up here on the screen. There we go. At the top, you have all my contact information. You know, best way to get a hold of me usually is by email. And down here, you'll start seeing a breakdown by all the weeks. Okay, so in week 1, what's the most important thing you get to? You need to get My IT Lab registered no later than August 16th, and it's got to be paid for by the 19th. So you only have a couple of days turnaround to get it paid for. If you have an issue with financial aid, sorry, you got to have this for the class. It's required up front. Okay, so get it done, get it registered to stay in the class, or else you're going to get dropped. Okay. Week 2 is where everything really starts to begin, and you actually have assignments breaking down in week 2. You would always review your weekly announcement every week. That means anything that's in the weekly announcements folder, you should always review first. In week 2, you'll have a Windows 10 training. Okay, and again, that's an activity that the scores are not counted for your final grade. When you feel comfortable that you understand the training stuff, you should go into the Windows 10 assessment, and you have to complete that by, see that yellow due date? It's typically going to be Saturday, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, so I put those due dates. In addition, in week 2, you can expect to watch a narrated PowerPoint on Chapter 1 and read Chapter 1 itself. Okay, so read Chapter 1. Now, you're not going to take the Chapter 1 quiz until week 3. So if I come back, you know, and take a look at, again, what was in that schedule, I take a look and say, oh, okay, week 1, pretty simple, right? You know, weekly announcements. There you go. And then I come back here and take a look at week 2. And what should we do in week 2? always go into the weekly announcements. Here's a copy of the trainings. Here you see the assessment. You can work on the trainings ahead of time for the whole semester. You can do them all in 1 week if you want to get them done, okay? But the assessments are scheduled every week throughout the semester, so you can't go faster than what the assessment schedule is set for. There's a copy of the narrated PowerPoint, and then again, even another copy of the ebook. These are all the same links to the same ebook. All right, let me come back out here and reopen up that course outline and kind of finish up the kind of review of it, okay? So you have that schedule here for the entire 18-week semester of what's happening from week to week. Every so often you'll see a big quiz week and a hands-on test like week 7, week 12, and week 16. Those are all really big test weeks, okay? And when we have those test weeks, we don't have homework that week, okay? Hey, look here, contact information. When you're trying to get a hold of me, the best time is usually through email, but make sure you do it sometime between Monday through Thursday. I'm not usually available after Friday or whatever, or the weekends, okay? And so if you do email me on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday, I probably won't be able to get back to you until the following Monday. So if you have some concerns, get those questions asked earlier in the week, okay? What's required for this class? You need to have a PC or a Mac, okay? Tablets and smartphones, Chromebooks, they're not going to work. If you're using a Mac computer, you need to have Microsoft Office for Windows, okay? This is really important because part of this class covers Microsoft Access, and Office for Mac does not include Access. So you won't be able to do that. That's a big chunk of your grade that you would fail on, okay? So make sure that if you're going to use a Mac, you have to set up something like Boot Camp or VMware first so you can install Microsoft 2016 for Windows, and that'll include the Office package, okay? So we're using the 2016. Again, you already probably gone through the registration. That's why you're seeing this video. Tech support, if you have problems, I'm not your tech support. So if you have a problem with your MyIT lab or an assignment at a particular step or something like that, contact the tech support if you think that there's something wrong, okay? If you have an internet connection problem, whatever, and you think it's related to tech support at MyIT lab, here's your contact, okay? If you need to purchase Microsoft Office, I recommend, here's a link. It's about $7 a month. You should kind of just use it for, a couple of months or whatever to get it through this class, unless you already own it, of course, okay? Attendance for this class, okay? If it's an online class, attendance is taken weekly. If you basically fail to do anything for a 2-week period, you're dropped from the class, okay? Face-to-face, well, this is not a face-to-face to worry about that, okay? If you haven't got the software registered or paid for, either by the 16th or the 19th of August, you'll be dropped, okay? Grading policy, here's a breakdown. There are 13 quizzes in the textbook, so you have a 25-question quiz on each one of them. Excuse me. You have assessments in Windows, Word, Excel, Access, and PowerPoint for a total of 425 points. You have 3 hands-on tests, Word, Excel, and Access for 300 points, and then 150-question a comprehensive final on the textbook only. Okay, and then it's a standard grading scale. All right, so here's a basic layout of the hands-on test, the assessments, and the final. When we have multiple chapters, like in in Word, Excel, and Access, there'll actually be 4 chapters, but I'm just going to take an average of all 4 of them, and then that'll be your 100 points for that particular topic, okay? All right, assignments. There are always going to be due dates. They're typically in yellow at the top there, okay? Typically a training, you can take as many as 3 times. Take these trainings as many times as you want. The assessments, you can take it 3 times, and I will keep your highest score. If you're happy with your first score in your assessment and you're done, then walk away, you're done. But if you want to take the assessment a second or third time to try to improve your score, it doesn't hurt you. I will take your highest grade, okay? Please, if you're planning on cheating in this class, read the academic dishonesty policy. Any other general policies and stuff, if you need any kind of assistance under the American Disabilities Act, please contact our Disabled Students Program here at Fresno City College. Okay? All right, let's come back here to our main area and to sit there and say, hey, we're ready to get started. So welcome to the class and have a good week.